Diabetes. With early diagnosis, prediabetes can be reversed. Take the risk test at doihaveprediabetes.org. Brought to you by the Ad Council and its prediabetes awareness partners.
Biff, we've had disconnection problems every day.
And with 12 available models, including Camry, Venza, and the all-new Corolla Cross, there's a style for everyone. Visit buyatoyota.com for the latest offers and to find a dealer near you. Toyota, your four-wheel and all-wheel.
An easy-to-navigate home screen with quick access to local news content and a localized weather forecast. Subscribing to notifications is easy. You have access to recent push notifications. There are more ways to watch and find video. To get the new WTRF-7 News app, just update the latest version or download the WTRF-7 News app in your Apple or Google Play Store by searching WTRF.
Plumbers and Steam Fitters Local 83 want to thank the owners and contractors of the Ohio Valley for using their locally trained workers to help build for the future.
I just got done saying we had problems yesterday at this hour, and it disconnected on me. So I'm concerned, and when I tried to reconnect, I couldn't at first, so be prepared, we could lose connection. All right, well, if I lose connection, I'll just call in. But, you know, you can just keep it. Oh, son of a gun. Now somebody tried to call me. You can just, you know, just keep Brad going. If it's while Brad's on, keep him going, and I'll call in as quick as I can. All right.
60s. Have yourself a great day, everyone. From the Watchdog, I'm Darnell Foster.
The views and opinions expressed on the following program are not necessarily those of this station or its sponsors.
Oh, it's going to be a great day.
This is Tuesday.
What? No way.
Today is Tuesday.
Who's ready to go nuts?
What do you say? Who wants to help me out? Who wants to put on a show?
I'm talking microphones, everything.
What about personality?
Personality. I don't have a personality.
So fake it until you make it.
Fake it till you make it.
I'll get the ball rolling.
It's showtime, baby.
News, information, conversation, controversy, and fun. This is the Watchdog Morning Show with Howard Monroe.
52 degrees, warming up a little bit. 52, Wheeling, Ohio County Airport. 53 here at my home studios in the Elm Grove section of Wheeling. 51 at the Robinson Auto Group Studios downtown Wheeling in the heart of the Ohio Valley. Daytime high around 66. Sunny and clear outside right now, but clouds will build up during the day today. And a slight chance of a few sprinkles this evening and overnight. Cloudy over the next couple of days as well. But going to be in the 60s for most of our work week. We'll see temperatures drop down to the 40s by the weekend. But at least for the moment, it's looking like a pretty good day outside. Where have we been and where are we going? Ohio County schools voted narrowly to extend their mask mandate for at least 2 more weeks. WVU President E. Gordon Gee is creating some controversy after taking an advisory role with a newly created no-degree university. Governor Justice announced a Do It for Baby Dog 3 contest to encourage children to get vaccinated. I guess he hasn't looked the reality that the first two didn't actually do much in getting people vaccinated, but he's going to try it again so he can get to go around the state and be a game show host again. Mountain State officials praising passage of the bipartisan infrastructure bill. Brad McElhenney and I on that in a minute or two. We talked with our national correspondent Tom Squitieri this morning about the fact that the Pentagon spokesman yesterday was very upset that Risk and not Battleship had been inducted into the Toy Hall of Fame. You'd think there are more important things to deal with at the Pentagon, but no. John Kirby was upset because Risk gotten the nod instead of Battleship. Also, will there be a worker walkout on Black Friday? They're calling it Blackout Friday, maybe. A judge has jokingly banished the elf on the shelf from his county in Georgia, and Ted Cruz and other Republicans are upset with Big Bird. Got a few more of those stories to get to before we turn things over to Kercheval at 10 o'clock this morning. It is 9:13 right now here on the Watchdog Morning Show. Let's welcome to the show Brad McElhenney, our statewide correspondent from Metro News. Brad, good morning, sir.
Good morning, Howard. Good to speak with you. I'm here to lobby for someone to send breakfast to Biff again.
I think I asked you once before, are you a registered lobbyist? A registered food lobbyist? I think you probably need to be.
As with Gordon Gee and the formation of that new university, I do not have a formal role, and I am taking no payments. I'm just trying. I'm here in an advisory capacity to advise Biff that breakfast is the most important meal of the day.
There we go. Very nice connection there, too. I like that. I know you didn't cover the story. What do you know of this E. Gordon Gee thing? Anything?
No, it caught me by surprise. I had not heard of this university, but it's a new, some sort of university in Austin, Texas, right? And it appears to be being formed as a response to our woke culture, I guess, right? Am I on the right track so far? But anyway, you watch
what
the
it sounds like.
A series of names, and all of a sudden E. Gordon Gee comes by, and you think, well, what's going on there? So he wound up putting out a statement yesterday saying kind of what I said about breakfast, which is that he's not being paid for this. He's just giving some advice. He's not formally serving on a board. But, you know, he is also, his main job, his day job is to be the symbol of and spokesman for and leader of the most prominent public university in West Virginia. So are those ideas at odds? You know, does it give a weird impression about the kind of university he already represents? So I think those kinds of questions were asked at a faculty senate meeting, and I got to acknowledge I didn't watch the meeting and didn't directly cover this, but it's just a bit of a weird situation involving Gordon Gee, who is highly thought of, has a lot of experience, but has been in weird situations over the years, and now having to explain himself about this involvement. You know, if I were forming a university and had the opportunity to get advice from someone with the deep experience of Gordon Gee, I would want that. And I think it's good that he is generous with his wisdom and knowledge, but you know, he's got a valuable name, and he does represent the most prominent university in West Virginia. So should he be more careful with how his name is loaned out or used? I think that's the question that he's facing today.
In his statement, he said that the folks who are putting together this new university, I think it's called University of Austin. It is not University of Texas at Austin. It's University of Austin. And he said they're taking some ideas from some of his writings that, you know, on higher academics. And so he felt that he could offer some advice to them. If I read the Twitterverse right, and God knows how you read the Twitterverse, but if I read it right, the folks who seemed to be upset were upset not with Gee becoming an unofficial advisor to another university, but with what this university seems to be, which is just, I don't even know how to describe it. Clearly you weren't sure either. It's just, it's a little off. It's a little unusual. A little, I don't know what. So I think it's the type of university that he's offering advice to that has some people wondering.
Yeah, and the people who his name was thrown in with, who he's associating with and lending his name to. But I think that's it. You don't, as a startup, you don't quite know what you're getting. And then there does seem to be, in its opening statement, so almost a mission to counter the woke culture of universities around the nation. He represents one that is such an institution in West Virginia that, I think that's what I'm trying to figure out is, should he be more cautious about how his name is used and give more thought to his association with West Virginia University and how that then is perceived with his other dealings. And I guess you're right. I haven't quite settled that and don't quite know enough yet, but it's an odd situation.
The Metro News story, which was not your story, says the website for the school says it's focused on the intrepid pursuit of the truth and seeks to expose students to the deepest wisdom of civilization. I can't find anything wrong with that. Why? We would hope that all institutions do that. And I guess maybe that's the question, why Guy feels there's a need to, isn't WVU also committed to the intrepid pursuit of the truth and exploring the deepest wisdom of civilization? It just something seems off. I'm not willing to just jump up and down on my soapbox yet because I just don't understand it enough. And I get the sense, Guy issued his statement fairly quickly yesterday afternoon after the story caught some social media attention. I have a sense that maybe he was caught unawares as well, that this is going to be a problem.
Yeah, I also wonder if maybe I just don't know, but I could see, all right, I've offered some advice, but maybe you don't know that your name is going to be in an ad.
Yeah,
and why would it be in an ad? The name is there because he's prominent and because they want the official nature, the stamp of having Gordon Guy's name and long academic reputation in with their materials, to give them, even though they're a startup, to give them sort of the blessing of officialdom. So I also wondered if he was maybe caught a little off guard yesterday.
Yeah, that's kind of, again, I don't know. I only know what I read and then what I interpret, but it's kind of the way I interpret it. And I think the fact that he felt a need to issue a statement very quickly suggests that there was some, maybe he didn't understand how they were going to use his name, and maybe he didn't understand how that was going to play with the college university community, but we'll see. 9:20 on the Watchdog Morning Show. Brad McElhenney with us. Let me shift gears, Brad. The state is going to get a lot of money now. The bipartisan infrastructure bill has been passed by the House after having languished for a while coming from the Senate. It was technically bipartisan. There were 13 Republicans along with the Democrats. Interestingly, in West Virginia, we had a split vote as well among our Republican delegation.
We did. So of the current three, Congressman McKinley voted in favor of the bill and just cited West Virginia's longstanding infrastructure needs. The things we all know about, the roads, the bridges, the broadband. And McKinley said, look, I got to vote with West Virginia, and we clearly need these things. But on the other hand, his future opponent, Alex Mooney, of right now of the 2nd District, the Eastern Panhandle area, and the swath across the center of the state, voted against it. And reading Mooney's statement, it seemed to be a little bit of concern, some concern about the national debt. And it does, I checked, it does contribute a bit to the national debt, but also sort of undefined worries about liberal priorities in the bill. And then Congresswoman Miller also voted against. You know, it's probably worth noting the former guy, experienced a backlash about it. Said that Republicans who voted for this bill called them Republicans in name only, and said, "Why are you trying to help the Democrats? Why are you trying to bail them out?" I mean, it was a very political view on it, whereas I assume the average West Virginian is just happy for concrete to be poured. I mean, to think 10, 15, 20 years ago that pouring concrete and building bridges ever would have been considered on purely partisan lines is incredible, but that's where we are at this point. But there's already backlash from McKinley and the other 12 who voted for this. Punchbowl News reporting this morning that there is an upcoming attempt by rank-and-file lawmakers on the GOP side to try to split committee assignments from the 13 Republican lawmakers, so that includes
You're kidding me.
Who voted for the $1 trillion bipartisan infrastructure bill. So the way that's phrased, it doesn't sound like it's coming necessarily from Kevin McCarthy, although, you know, you wonder where he stands, talking about the minority leader in the House. You wonder if he's given this his blessing. But, you know, there's been this Republican backlash against people like McKinley on the side of this vote, saying, well, if it hadn't been for you, Joe Biden wouldn't have gotten a major portion of his agenda passed, you know, while he's otherwise politically on the run. So, yeah, I mean, you say you're kidding me, and that's, as an average citizen, a keen observer, but an average citizen, that's where I am too. Like, you can't even vote for roads and bridges these days, or, you know, somebody's going to come after your committee assignments.
You know, I've said frequently, in conjunction with Senator Manchin's perpetual call for we have to have bipartisanship, we all have to work together, I've said that I think what Senator Manchin maybe misses is when you have two sides of the political aisle, both of whom agree on what the problem is, then you simply argue over what's the best solution to the problem. The difficulty that I see right now, particularly with the Republicans, although we're seeing some of this in the House in particular among Democrats as well, but particularly among Republicans, is their goal isn't to fix roads and bridges. Their goal is to deny Democrats a victory. So you can't compromise when one side says we're trying to find a way to get better roads, bridges, infrastructure, broadband, and so on, and your goal is to stop whatever the hell it is that we're doing. That's why I think compromise is just so difficult right now, because they're not working for the same goal. One side is working for a political goal. And certainly Trump's comments were very clear about that. And I had not yet opened my Punchbowl News newsletter from the morning, so I hadn't seen that piece. But, you know, you're going to attempt to punish, air quotes there, punish Republicans who voted for this bill, who voted for sending, you know, was it $3 billion for highway work to the state and to West Virginia, $506 million for bridge projects and $100 million for broadband and so on. I mean, you're gonna punish them? This is where we are. I'm ranting. I'm sorry, Brad, but this is where we are.
Yeah, I mean, former President Trump's statement was fairly long, but the gist of it was, he said, quote, all Republicans who voted for Democrat longevity, meaning bailing out Democrats, should be ashamed of themselves. So, I mean, that's the position, I think, now that all but those 13 are taking in Congress. You know, it was interesting yesterday, state Democrats, Minority Leader Stephen Baldwin, and a couple of other senators, Rod Stallings and Richard Lindsay, additional Democrats, had a news briefing that was on Zoom, and Senator Manchin was the guest star. And, you know, I don't know if it's the kind of thank you or endorsement that Congressman McKinley wants, but they were explicit in their thanks to Senator Capito, a Republican, and to Congressman McKinley, saying, you know, West Virginia really needs this stuff, and and we thank them for their votes. And they didn't have to make that kind of across the aisle praise. And again, maybe that's not the kind of praise Congressman McKinley wants.
I'm not 100% sure he wants that praise, but I get your point. Yeah.
And Manchin was asked about it about this political dynamic on the Republican side by Stephen Allen Adams of the Ogden newspapers, and Manchin, I thought, was very interesting about this upcoming Mooney and McKinley race. He said for Mooney to try to use this against David McKinley, I don't think he explicitly has yet, but it certainly could come up. Manchin said for Mooney to try to use this against David McKinley, I think that's going to hurt him, meaning Mooney, so bad when people know what he voted against. So, I mean, that's an interesting concept, too. In the bubble of Washington, McKinley now faces this threat of being stripped of his committee assignment. A longstanding, loyal Republican who was once chairman of the party, a multi-term congressman from West Virginia, who hasn't done anything that, compared to some others, no threats, no crazy behavior. He now faces this threat of losing his committee assignments. But versus on the ground in West Virginia, the voters, this new district across the northern part of the state, are those voters going to thank Congressman McKinley for roads, bridges, broadband with their votes? I mean, I just think it's two different worlds.
Yeah, I would agree. I will be curious to see as we get some work done with this money in the short term, and it has to be fairly quickly term, but I'll be curious to see if Mooney shows up for ribbon cuttings and groundbreakings. He voted against it. Will he show up to take credit for it when the money comes in, when that big giant check is getting pictured? Will Mooney be there standing beside it going, yes, look what we did for you, when he didn't? To me, this will be interesting to see.
He'll stand there with a sign that says, don't expand our national debt. So Governor Justice had an announcement, celebration of bringing together a bunch of investment for broadband. And it was a lot of that is federal dollars, a significant portion out of the American Recovery Act, which didn't get Republican votes, at least not on the House side, on the congressional House side. But Congressman McKinley and Congressman Miller appeared on it as part of Zoom events. Congressman Mooney did not, and I wondered if he really was. I don't know. There was no explanation for his lack of presence there, but I wondered either he wasn't available or he was, acknowledging that he hadn't voted for at least the American Recovery Act portion and just not appearing. But you do see that happening where, you don't want to take part in the vote at the congressional level, but then when the money comes down at the state level, you're glad to have it.
I watched a clip of Governor Justice's, might have been on your story, I'm not sure. I watched a clip of Governor Justice's comments about this infrastructure bill yesterday. I think Mark Curtis asked a question about it. And he was, I don't want to say tap dancing exactly, but he was praising the infrastructure bill, and I think he thanked or at least acknowledged McKinley had voted for it and was positive that way, and we're happy to get the money. But then he was really kind of tap dancing the political thing too. But this could be the Democrats might be trying to get some other stuff in here. It was as if he just wasn't sure that he liked having to say this bill was good. He said it, but he wasn't happy with it. He had to sort of add the caveat that, but other bad things could happen down the road.
Man, but what's really not to like? You're the governor. $6 billion flowing to you, and your administration is going to get to shape the way it comes down in the end on a lot of these, the highways, the roads, the bridges, the other forms of transportation, along with significant jobs for abandoned mine cleanup and orphan gas wells, just a lot of stuff in there. And in a year or two, he can say, look, we spent this money wisely. He can then take the credit himself. But you're right. I heard it the way you heard it, which is I thank Congressman McKinley It took a lot of guts for him to step up as he stepped up. But then the governor, moved to the other side and said, but in all of that, I surely understand the Republican stance because they feel like on the House side, this could be a Pandora's box. And it could crack the door from a standpoint of some way, somehow, leveraging this to be able to get a second bill passed, meaning the social safety net Build Back Better bill. I mean, the reason the infrastructure bill was held up for so long was because there was an effort to link the two. But now that the infrastructure bill has passed and is on the president's desk, that link has been severed. And I just don't understand trying to politically continue to link the two. I mean, Build Back Better, the social safety net, is now on its own. And progressives like Ilhan Omar and some of the others, Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, voted against the infrastructure bill because that link was being severed. But nevertheless, you're right. The governor did seem to have both feet firmly planted on each side of this issue.
Exactly. Look, I am generally in favor of Build Back Better, personally. There are some things in there that concern me. I'm generally in favor of it. But I completely understand why there is disagreement about Build Back Better. For there to be serious debate, discussion, and disagreement on that, I got it completely. I do not comprehend what the disagreement comes with the infrastructure bill. I mean, the numbers were hammered out in the Senate in a bipartisan way. It's money for literally infrastructure, hard infrastructure, roads, bridges, broadband, water, that kind of stuff. It's none of the touchy-feely stuff that's in Build Back Better. I don't understand, other than for pure politics, why you oppose this bill. I get the discussion on the other bill, on Build Back Better, but I don't get it on this one. I truly don't. Maybe I don't know, maybe I'm too narrow-minded or something, but to me, it's a good thing.
I'm deeply confused about current modern politics also because, I mean, I thought that we were societally of an understanding that infrastructure is one of the things that is truly government's role, and it's supposed to do, and we all benefit from it. And that growth and prosperity can emerge from the access that highways, bridges, broadband, clean water can provide. And for it to be seemingly purely political, I don't want you to get a win. That's something that my mind is still adjusting to. But here we are in 2021, and I guess that's where we are. It's amazing.
In West Virginia, it has traditionally been, it's almost a cliche, you can't lose votes by building bridges or fixing roads. I mean, that is, it doesn't, Democrat, Republican, Moon Party, it doesn't make any difference. Fix people's roads and bridges, and you will make them happy, and you will do well because of that. And here we are with folks who don't want to, I don't get it. Anyway, Brad, good talking to you. I said to you privately earlier, I felt like we hadn't talked for a while. I guess it's because you had a break last week, huh?
I had a break last week. My younger daughter had a week off and also got her learner's permit, so we spent some time behind the wheel. I was not behind the wheel. I was gripping the handle on the passenger side while saying, "Good job, good job." And then my other daughter is off of college, and it was parents' weekend, so I had a great week.
Okay, all right. Yeah, I did see the picture of your daughter at the DMV, and it's like, oh, Brad, good luck to you.
Yeah, I mean, it's exciting, but learning when to hit the brake and just touch the brake ever so slightly, it's coming along.
One of the key things I taught my kids when they were learning to drive was where to go, what speed traps to avoid. Here in the upper panhandle, north panhandle, there are key areas, like you don't go through McMecken and Benwood. Don't speed. Don't even go 1 mile over the limit. That's a speed trap. Bethlehem in Ohio County, So I took them to all those places, and I said, now, this is a place you don't want to ever have a heavy foot. I felt like they needed to learn that early on in life, so There's a lot more teaching them to drive than just when to hit the brake, or how to parallel park.
Yeah, that is true. That is true.
Brad, good talking to you, friend. I appreciate it. We'll do it again soon. Thanks for talking to us today.
Thanks, Howard. I hope Biff gets breakfast, and I hope you keep your committee assignments.
I hope I do too. Thanks a lot. Appreciate it. 9:37, 23 to the hour. Always good to talk to Brad McElhenney. I said to Brad last night, I said, Brad, we haven't talked for a week or so. Let's get you on to talk. He said, well, I haven't been around. I've been on vacation. So there you go. Big Bird's in trouble. We'll talk about that coming up. Plus, Big Bob is coming in. That would be Bob Westfall with Ohio Valley headlines from the Big Seven. All of that's coming up after we check some headlines from Metro News and a little bit of sports as well.
The Metro News Update is brought to you by Thomas Auto Centers, Mall Road, St. Clairsville. Get the best deal at Thomas Auto Centers.
West Virginia Metro News, I'm Carol.
I'm super excited just to finally get out there being the real thing. Even though we played Akron, that didn't count. So it's always a little different when it actually does count. And it's been a long time since that loss at Syracuse, and it's time to take it out on some folks.
Guards Taz Sherman, Sean McNeil, and Kedrian Johnson return, as well as forward Gabe Osaboyan. Of the new players, 6'3" guard Kobe Johnson played the most in the exhibition win over Akron. Mountaineers fell to Syracuse in round 2 of the NCAA tournament a year ago. Mountaineer football team faces a Kansas State team on a 3-game winning streak.
It's hard to regroup a team after you lose several games in a row, and they've done that. That's a credit to them. I think defensively, if you look at them first, is they're doing a really nice job versus the run. They're making it difficult. They're not giving you any easy throws in the pass game. In their red zone defense, they've done a nice job making people kick here during this streak.
It's been an up and down year for the Mountaineers as well. 3 Big 12 losses followed by 2 wins, and then the Oklahoma State setback last week. West Virginia and Kansas State this week. You're listening to Metro News, the voice of West Virginia. Metro News rankings heading into the high school football playoffs. AAA Huntington is number 1, followed by Martinsburg, unbeaten Bridgeport, Cabell Midland, then unbeaten University. AA Herbert Hoover, number 1, followed by Independence, Point Pleasant, North Marion, and Lincoln. Single A, Wheeling Central, number 1, followed by Cameron, Doddridge County, Williamstown, and East Hardy. Monday Night Football, Steelers opened up a 20-6 lead on the Bears, had to hold on to win 29-27. From the Metro News Sports Desk, I'm Kyle Wiggs.
Coming up on Metro News Hotline.
On the Tuesday edition of the show, we'll take a look back at Monday Night Football, the Steelers hosting the Bears. Dave Bryan from Steeler Depot will help us do that at the top of the 4 o'clock hour. Also in the 5 o'clock hour, we'll take a deeper dive into the first round of the West Virginia High School football playoffs. Plus your calls, texts, tweets, in or out, and our question of the day.
Metro News Hotline with Dave Weekly. Weekday afternoons from 3 till 6 at WVMetroNews.com and on this Metro News station.
If you're on Medicare and have questions about health and drug coverage options, join the Ohio Department of Insurance at a Medicare event near you. Learn about Medicare open enrollment, financial assistance programs, and important deadlines. Everyone on Medicare should review their health and drug plan options. Annual open enrollment runs October 15th through December 7th, and new plan coverage begins January 1st. Visit insurance.ohio.gov or call 1-800-686-1578 to find an event near you.
Want to buy your own home but think you can't afford it? What if you got down payment assistance or a discounted interest rate just for being a recent college grad, teacher, nurse, or veteran? The Ohio Housing Finance Agency offers this and more, and our programs are always available for eligible Ohioans, big city, small town, and everywhere in between. Find out if you qualify at myohiohome.org. That's myohiohome.org. Home ownership. Ready when you are.
Toyota's full lineup of four-wheel and all-wheel drive vehicles combine our legendary reliability with the safety and handling necessary to take on any terrain, element, or adventure that comes your way. And with 12 available models, including Camry, Venza, and the all-new Corolla Cross, there's a style for everyone. Visit buyatoyota.com for the latest offers and to find a dealer near you. Toyota, your four-wheel and all-wheel drive specialists. Let's go places.
Hello, I'm Chuck Reddick, Commissioner of the Internal Revenue Service. We're working hard to get ready for tax filing season. You know who else is working hard? Identity thieves. Keep your computers and your mobile phones secure. Use antivirus software and strong passwords. Look out for email scams. Secure your home Wi-Fi with a password. Stay safe when you shop online. Look for HTTPS in the web address. See irs.gov for details.
The best in local talk is on your FM dial. 98.1 and 97.7. We are the Watchdog. Follow us on Facebook for the latest news, show updates, podcasts, alerts, and live video streams from the Valley's only network dedicated to local, community-driven talk radio. The Watchdog.
This is the Watchdog Morning Show with Howard Monroe and Brad Leonard behind the board in the producer's chair.
The first thing I met was a fly with a buzz and the sky with no clouds. The heat was hot and the ground was dry, but the air was full of sound. I've been through the desert on a horse with no name. It felt good to be out of the rain.
It is a quarter till the hour here on the Watchdog Morning Show. Coming up today, 10:06. Mr. Kircher will be here, statewide talk line with Hoppy, among other things. He'll continue to talk about the infrastructure bill. And Brad will be on with him, as he was with us, to talk about that. Also, the president of the Bipartisan Committee for a Responsible Federal Budget will be talking about the infrastructure plan and Build Back Better. My guess is, based on the title of the group, they're going to be opposed to the bill. I'm guessing that. This should be interesting, though, with Hoppy today. At 11:06, Jeff Fuller and Sarah James McLaughlin, who have written a book called The WVU Co-ed Murders. Who killed Merid and Karen? A deep dive into the mysterious murders of Karen Farrell and Merid Malarick in 1970 with new details about the murder. So a real-life murder mystery discussed today on Hoppy Show. That sounds interesting. And West Virginia Can't Wait, the group that spawned, Stephen Smith actually spawned the group, and then he became their gubernatorial candidate in the last election. Lost out to Ben Salango in the Democratic primary. But West Virginia Can't Wait has now begun a candidate recruitment campaign, trying to get more candidates to run for office yes, governor, Senate, higher levels, but also they're wanting to put people in lower offices, so, school boards and city councils and so on. So Katie Lauer is with Western Can't Wait. She'll be on with Hoppy today, coming up for between 10 and noon as well. And the former executive chair and CEO of the software giant Cisco Systems will be on. John Chambers is a WVU grad and a major benefactor of WVU, and they've renamed the College of Business and Economics at WVU the John Chambers College of Business and Economics, and Hoppy will be talking with him a bit about that. So that's coming up today. Statewide talk line, I do want to remind you, we'll have the Neil Brown Coaches Show, not Coaches Show, but the press conference today at noon, live, and see what the coach had to say about this weekend's game. Also after that, it is Bill DeFabio is on vacation this week, most of this week. I think he'll be back on Friday for Football Friday. But Bill's on vacation most of this week, so it's Butch Maxwell's Complete Waste of Time. And I truly enjoy Butch when he's on. I hope that he's going to talk about his recent trip to New York City. He and his wife Vera, it looked like they had just a great weekend in New York City. I saw them at some wonderful restaurants, some photographs they put on Facebook, and went to see several shows and met up with some old friends there. I'm hoping he'll tell the tale of Manhattan while he's on today. Butch Maxwell, Complete Waste of Time, from 1 o'clock after the Coaches Show until 3 today. Then Dave Weekley is in at 3 o'clock, reviewing, among other things, the Steelers game last night. Hotline is on from 3 to 5. Head home with your WTRF TV7 headlines. And then this evening at 6, Biffy, we have basketball starting to dribble down the court. The season is opening at WVU.
Yes, it is for head coach Bob Huggins. They will be at home tonight at the Coliseum in Morgantown. They have a sponsor for that yet, or do they still call it the Coliseum?
I think, for some reason, I think they do, but
If they do,
clearly it's not well publicized.
Yeah, if they do, I don't know who it is. To me, it's always been the Coliseum, and I'll probably still continue to call it the Coliseum until I find out who sponsors it. But anyhow,
if any of you know for sure, give me a text, 304-214-1600. Is the Coliseum, does it have a sponsor's name? The Biff Leonard Coliseum or something like that?
No. Until we find out, I'll continue to call the home where the Mountaineers play the Coliseum, which is where they will be tonight. Pregame, they are taking on Oakland. The pregame starts at 6 o'clock, and tip-off is at 7, and college basketball season underway tonight.
So and I mentioned earlier, I listened to the Bob Harden show last night on the Watchdog. I get such a kick out of listening to Huggy talk. As I said, I think he was really just trying to jab Tony. Tony would ask him questions. Now, Coach, listen, what do you think about that? Is that a good idea? Yeah. Okay. Next question. What do you think about blah, 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 blah? What do you think about that? Yeah. Yep. It was just, I just got a kick out of that. I got a text that I'm not going to share with you about the Coliseum. If you should have gotten it as well. I'm trying to figure out if I can enter the baby dog contest. The governor announced a baby dog 3. Do it for baby dog 3. So I went to the doitforbabydog.wv.gov page where you can register. And there's adult registration and 5 to 17-year registration. West Virginians 5 to 17 years of age who have received at least their first dose of the vaccine may enter for a chance to win a full 4-year full ride scholarship, including room and board, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Must be 5 to 17 years old. If you're 18 or older, you can apply for the Education Savings Fund on the adult registration page. So I'm trying to figure out if I want to, if I can register for this or not. They give me $50,000, I'd go back to school. Hey, nothing wrong with that. Anyways, you can go. The grand prize: one student per week will get $50,000 educational fund for 3 weeks. One school per week. I still love this. A $50,000 check. That is great. The school from which the winning participant attends will get $50,000. That's a great thing for a school. And the best part of all, Biff, they get a party with Baby Dog. God help us.
I can see Stephen Allen Adams right now just going crazy. Crazy right about now.
It's a very good point that you make. And by the way, if you want to learn more about Baby Dog, if you go to that website, there's a whole section on about Baby Dog. Baby Dog has provided much needed moments of levity over the course of the COVID-19 pandemic. I'm like you, Biffy. I'm looking at all these pictures of Baby Dog. There's one with, the governor is signing papers at his desk, and he's hugging Baby Dog while he's doing it. Baby Dog has that look like, for God's sake, what am I doing here?
Well, when the kid that got the vaccination that he did, he stood the poor dog up and had its arms like it was dancing. I looked at that, I said, what in the heck is he doing to that poor dog?
Oh, God. Let's go over to the Big 7, WTRF TV. If you don't do it for Baby Dog, do it for Big Bob Westfall this morning. Good morning, Bob.
I've got nothing on that, Howard. I mean, I get you on television last night, and that's how you treat me.
I had to sort of chuckle a little bit. Rebecca came up, and she doesn't know me, and she said, can I have your name, please? And, here's what we're going to do, and look this way, and, and I gave her a comment from Planet. She said, oh, boy, most people don't make it as succinct and good as that. I want to go, well, I've had some practice.
Yeah, a little bit of practice. I understand. But, yeah. Rebecca is quite thorough when she does her interview. So,
you know what? I want to say this real quick because I always commend people for this. She did know me, and she knew some things that she didn't know, and she asked me about them, about the process, about how it worked. I mean, there's several questions she asked that showed she knew what she didn't know, and she asked to find out. And I am always impressed with reporters who are willing to, to say, hey, I don't understand this. Can you explain it to me? I was very impressed with her.
I agree 100%. She did a fantastic job, and she always does. So, she's been a great addition to the team. So we're really excited about her. So,
what are you working on today?
All right, working on a few things. Coal Communities Work Group is in Moundsville tonight. Talking about things they can do to improve areas that have been devastated, working around the coal areas. Obviously, that's a huge situation. Looking at economic development, things like that. So it's something tonight, 6:30, Chevron Building, Marshall County Fairgrounds. We will be there live at 6, and then Aaliyah will cover it for 10:11. So this is an interesting set up by the governor and his people down there, just to kind of see what is going on when it comes to coal communities and coal communities that have been damaged by the decline in the use of coal. So that's something we'll be live at tonight. Kind of curious to see what's going to be said on that one. So we will have that tonight.
I think this is a great idea that the state is doing, which is, acknowledging. I don't think we acknowledge enough that coal someday is going to be gone, and there is devastation in coal communities. How do we deal with that? I think these hearings, or not hearings, I guess town halls, whatever they call them, are really a good idea. And
Right.
I hope that they get some good ideas and maybe can take some of them, make them into action, turn them into action.
Yeah, that'd be great. Yeah, a lot of little towns that were depending on coal have all but disappeared. So always be interesting on something like that to get some kind of information to get that going. Another story I kind of like is soldier killed in World War II, finally identified from Weirton. John Sitars from Weirton will be buried today at Arlington National Cemetery. So we will have that service tonight in our 6 o'clock. Our DC Bureau is covering that. So, another local veteran honored this week, native of Weirton, killed in, where was he killed? Hitron Forest in November 2nd. Gosh, almost 75 years ago. So anyway, we'll have that today. I really like that story. So our D.C. Bureau was covering that for us today.
Our national correspondent here, Tom Squidieri, earlier this morning was telling us that today and tomorrow at Arlington Cemetery, and this is only today and tomorrow, and it can't be done normally. If you're just an average person, you can actually walk down onto the tomb where the changing the guard occurs and where the soldiers walk. You can actually walk that walk. It's normally completely off limits, but some kind of anniversary, and for 2 days they're going to allow people.
100th anniversary of the Tomb of the Unknown.
I think that would be very awe-inspiring, I think, to be down there and be able to do that.
Yeah, so we'll be there for that. Another story we're working on, probably for this evening, I kind of like, I don't know, I'm sure you know a little bit of NASCAR. Kyle Larson won the championship for the top division this weekend. A year ago, he was suspended for racial insensitivity. From NASCAR, he lost his ride, he lost sponsors, didn't know if he would be coming back. Well, anyway, he went through sensitivity training and things like that, counseling. NASCAR reinstated him. He found a job with one of the top teams in racing and won 10 races this year, won the championship on Sunday. We're going to talk to Ron Scott about the importance of, counseling and training, and how this works for the individual and maybe companies. Just kind of a story about getting a second chance. So we're going to sit down with Ron over at the YWCA and just kind of get his thoughts and put that together for this evening. So those are some of the other stories we're working on. I know weather, a little bit of rain maybe tomorrow, so Aaron and Zach will be following that. Let's see, today's Tuesday, so our Athlete of the Week, Scott will have that out today, so we'll have that as well. So news, sports, weather, got a little bit of everything.
Check it on TV at noon, 5, 6, 10, 11, 5:30 for the statewide show. Check it online at the award-winning WTRF.com, or check the news and the weather in your pocket if you have the News app and the Storm Tracker 7 app, which you should. If you don't, download them to your phones or your tablets and take the news with you wherever you go. Never want to be too far away from WTRF TV.
You have it. That's it. Yeah, if you need it, like I said, it's an award-winning setup. You get everything you need, so I can't imagine not having it.
All right, Bob, we will talk about tomorrow's our short day, so I'll talk to you on Thursday. Have a good day, and we'll chat then.
All right, guys. You guys have a good day.
All right, you too. And I'll be back tomorrow morning, 7 o'clock, another go-around of the big gig. Are you back with me, Biff?
I am here for a Wednesday.
We'll keep on doing it till we get it right.
That could be a long time.
Indeed. ABC News is already in progress.
The Watchdog is FM 98.1, AM 1600 WKKX Wheeling, FM 97.7, AM 1370 WVLY Moundsville.
The ABC News is brought to you by Thomas Auto Centers, Mall Road, St. Clairsville. Get the best deal at Thomas Auto Centers.
Are only available to people over.
All right, Biffy. That wasn't too bad a show. Managed to make it work. Hopefully everything's still working up there. No problems. Nothing went out. Internet's still working. I didn't lose any connection, so that's a good sign. What fixed it? Was it just the reboot, do you think? Did you reboot the modem? Was that what it was, or? Right. It was weird the way things were going. Yeah, I couldn't, it didn't make sense to me, but it's fixed. So I guess I'll just live with it being fixed right now. Well, that's good. Yeah, it didn't, I couldn't figure out, I mean, looking at what was working, what wasn't working, it didn't make logical sense. So, but again, I guess maybe sometimes logic goes out the window. I don't know. Anyway, Teddy's going to be here with us today. Apparently he's not feeling well, so he's going to the doctor's at 11:30, and he'll be here, which means I'll be here probably playing, so I'll be around all day. If anything does go wrong, you need me, give me a call. And if not, I'll talk to you in the morning. And he won't bother us at all. Because I walked into the kitchen during one of the breaks, and he is literally bouncing up and down, jumping up and down. So he's got some, I don't know where it's coming from. He's got some energy. So you're right, a little shot of Fireball will knock that right out of you. There you go. All right, I'll talk to you tomorrow. Thanks a lot. Bye.
General Electric announcing today it's splitting itself into 3 separate companies, one focused on aviation, one on energy, and one on healthcare. After a deadly attack at a grocery store in Fairbanks, Alaska, the accused shooter is now being held on $10 million bail. Police say the accused gunman, Joshua Butcher, turned himself in after opening fire, killing one person and leaving another hurt. Israel is again being accused of launching attacks into Syria. ABC's Jordana Miller is in Jerusalem.
Israel appears to be intensifying its attacks on Iranian targets in Syria ahead of a new round of nuclear talks between Washington and Tehran later this month. For the 3rd time now in just 2 weeks, Syria accusing Israel of missile strikes Monday evening, this time near homes and along the coast. Syria says 2 of its soldiers were injured. The Syrian Observatory for Human Rights, which is linked with the opposition, said Iranian weapon caches were hit. Israel is not commenting, but it has admitted dozens of strikes in Syria to thwart Iran's growing presence, what Jerusalem considers a national security threat. Jordana Miller, ABC News, Jerusalem.
On a normal day, the only people allowed into the plaza of the Tomb of the Unknown Soldier are the guards who man that post every day of the year. But today and tomorrow, in a commemoration of the 100th anniversary of that tomb, visitors are being allowed into the area to place flowers. This is ABC News.
When a nasty cold keeps you up all night, Vicks NyQuil Severe gives you powerful relief from your worst cold and flu symptoms, which changes a night that sounds like this into a night that sounds more like this. Ah, that's better. NyQuil Severe. The nighttime sniffling, sneezing, coughing, sore throat, stuffy head, aching, fever, best sleep with a cold, medicine. Use as directed.
I'm Sherry Preston, ABC News.
On the last talk line on Metro News, former Governor Earl Ray Tomlin remembering the late House Speaker Bob Kiss.
It was great to work with. He was a man of integrity. He told you he would do something, you go to the bank on it. And we both had similar philosophies when it comes to how to manage the people's money.
Keep up on what's happening in West Virginia. Talk line weekdays at 10:06 right here on this Metro News radio station.
Hello, everyone. From the Watchdog, I'm the Storm Tracker, Darnell Foster. Here's a look at your local weather forecast for your Tuesday. A mix of sun and clouds, an afternoon high near 66. Partly cloudy with the overnight low being 36 degrees. And then you'll see plenty of sunshine mixing in with just a few clouds around for your Wednesday with highs in the low to mid 60s. Have yourself a great day, everyone. From the Watchdog, I'm Darnell Foster.
The views and opinions expressed on the following program are not necessarily those of this station or its sponsors.
Good morning. Welcome to Talk Line on the Metro News Radio Network.
Do not attempt to change the station. You are surrounded. We interrupt this program to bring you an emergency news bulletin. Repeat, this is an emergency bulletin. Keep your radio turned on.